Today, we're going to learn about a different methodology that has helped me open new avenues of reading that I had not previously considered. The year 2022 marks 7 years since I started paying attention to my reading life and actively diversifying what I read. I realized that as much as I thought I was reading a diverse array of authors and books, I didn't feel that I was reading enough of them. Upon that discovery, I sought out a way to rectify that by participating in prompt based book challenges created by those who sought the same goal. The first question that came to mind when this realization came about is, why do I read? Why do any of us read? We read to escape, we read to learn, we read to absorb knowledge for our college courses, we read to better ourselves and hopefully the world around us. There are many reasons as to why a given person reads. Taking that into consideration, I started thinking about my goals with reading. I started with the simplest one, which was to find a way to discover and read more diverse books. Then I thought about how I wanted to shape my reading life in a way that I could build a strong habit going down the road. Did I want to pick out a few authors and read everything on the shelf, or find a more organic way to peruse new to me books? It turned out to be the latter. Once I figured out the why and the what, it was time to start thinking about the how. Would I concentrate solely on novels and chapter books, or would audiobooks and graphic novels be included in this endeavor as well? The short answer is yes. Every type of reading material, no matter the type of format, is always included in my reading life. I have discovered that I prefer to read my fiction books in print or digital, but prefer to listen to my nonfiction on audio. Now, this might be different for someone else, as many don't consider listening to an audiobook or devouring a graphic novel as reading. However, just as all of our journeys are our own, your reading life is yours and not anyone else's. How you choose to live it is up to you. Each of the book challenges that I've taken part in over the years are prompt based. This means that the creators make a list of prompts and it's up to the participant to figure out a book that might fit the criteria. There are a multitude of different book challenges found online, from the original challenge that started me on this path with Modern Mrs. Darcy, and one that I have participated in yearly since discovering it, which is Book Riot's Read Harder Challenge. These type of challenges have gotten so popular that the New York Public Library utilizes Book Riot's challenge as part of their programming each year. This year, my own local library system created their challenge for the first time, and I am proud to say that I am almost to the finish line. Aside from using the prompts to diversify my reading, I started keeping a spreadsheet in the first few years that just tracked what I read. Since then, the wonderful staff at Book Riot created a spreadsheet which users can personalize depending on their focus. This spreadsheet keeps a full swath of data, like how many books I read in a month, how many hours I listened on audio, how many books I read that were translated from other languages, or how many had LGBTQIA or Indigenous representation. While this slide is not a full view of my spreadsheet, it is a quick view of data from 2019 to 2021. The larger graph is how many books were read each year between January and May. The bar graph on the top right is the spread of print, digital, and audiobooks, and the bottom right is the differential of how many fiction versus nonfiction books that I read in those years. I appreciate having the ability to go back and look at the numbers to see the difference in how many books I read in a year, what I may have been going through at that time period, and just kind of like the little time capsule of my reading for each year. If you plan to track your books and participate in prompt-based challenges, it behooves you to do a little research and give time to planning out your year. Of the challenges that I participate in, the prompt lists are usually released around the beginning to middle of December. This gives enough time to plan out the first few months of what you'll read. I have found that I love paging through dedicated Goodreads groups or Reddit pages when available to find ideas for prompts. I have also found a number of books that I may not have discovered if not for considering suggestions from other participants. Book Riot will post articles for most of their prompts with book suggestions for each, as will the New York Public Library. Last but not least, you could use Novelist. Its keyword function is a perfect solution for finding books that might fit a particular prompt. Once you've got a short list of books that you want to read, where do you source them from? My first stop when doing this is my local library's website. When I type in a book on the homepage of my local library, it will show me where the library has it in the collection, whether in print or digital, on Overdrive, Libby, Hoopla, or another entity. The library doesn't have If the library doesn't have the book in their collection, a patron can always recommend it for purchase or consider borrowing it via the interlibrary loan. Once you've expended all effort at the library, you can always support a small local bookstore or a semi-independent book website like Better World Books, but I would always suggest to try and go with your library first and foremost. If you've reached this point, you've gathered up a good amount of data as well as possibly the amount of books that you might want to read for the year. Maybe you're waiting on some holds from the library or deciding what to read first. In any case, you have a loose idea of just how you want to conquer your reading life for the following year. It's just time to jump in and do it. You can start tracking and reading before or after the start of the year, having a habit where you keep up daily or weekly with your spreadsheet, and then periodically rehashing your reading selections as maybe some might have grown stale. And then last but not least, save some time for books not in your challenges, as you might need a break from some of the heavier style reading depending on the prompts that you are going through.